हेलो हेलो माइक टेस्ट 1 2 3।
इन दोनों माइक में जो बोलेगा उसकी आवाज इधर भी आएगी, उसकी आवाज उधर भी आएगी। लेकिन अभी चेक कर लो जूम पे ना, ये दोनों माइक ऑन करके उस जूम पे आना, बाहर जाके सब ये। और फिर एक मसला आएगा जब बैंक पे वो क्वेश्चन आंसर वो इधर सब चला जाएगा, वो वहाँ पे हम लगा के इधर कर देते हैं। अगर इधर रखना है तो इधर रख देते हैं, अगर इसको उठा के आगे करना है तो वहां से केबल लगा दो, उसको दे देते हैं जहाँ करना है।
रही है।
हाँ हम बैठा है, कर ले अपने से लिंक कर ले, करा दे तो स्लाइड में चेंज नहीं किया वो। देखिए ये वाला मैं, चलो मैं भेज जाता हूँ समझ में आते।
अब देखें स्मूथ हो गया ना। नहीं मैं वैसे एक बात कर रहा हूँ कि एक फर्ज करो वहां पे क्वेश्चन आंसर के लिए बंदा बैठा है, ठीक है, उसका भी माइक ऑन है, ये भी माइक ऑन है, कोई शोर नहीं है। और ये इसकी गेन इतनी की हुई है कि क्योंकि लोग माइक दूर रखते हैं, इतनी रख के भी बात होगी ना तो पूरे ऑडिटोरियम में आवाज आती है। ये थोड़ी सी कम करनी पड़ेगी ये वाले माइक। इसको कॉल कर लो। हेलो हेलो।
हाँ जी। ओके
चलो मैं करवा हेलो माइक चेक हेलो 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 माइक चेक हेलो 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 माइक चेक हेलो वो उधर लड़के पहुंचे हैं तो कह रहे हैं आइडिया ले लो हेलो माइक टेस्ट 1 2 3 हेलो माइक टेस्ट 1 2 3 तो 3 2
अर्सलान के बाद एक ज्वाइन हुआ
हेलो
ओके।
आवाज आ रही है आपको?
हाँ जी।
ये आप बैठे कैसे हैं?
ये इको आपकी वजह से बन गई, जो आप इधर बैठे हैं ना।
तेरा माइक ऑन है क्या होगा? ऑफ है ना?
हेलो।
वो
साया है इधर। हेलो।
जी जी।
मुझे बात कैसी आ रही है?
आवाज सही आ रही है?
क्या हुआ?
जी बिल्कुल क्लियर आ रही है आवाज आपकी।
तो कोई डबल आवाज यार तुमने ज्वाइन कर लिया?
इको कोई डबल आवाज?
कुछ भी नहीं है, क्लियर है, कोई इको नहीं है।
ये बात ज्यादा अच्छी आ रही है तेरी बात।
अच्छा जी।
वो डायरेक्ट माइक से बोल।
मेरा गला खराब है।
इसकी आवाज में इको है, इसकी आवाज।
मेरी आवाज आ रही है सही है आपको?
बेहतरीन।
तुम्हें पता है क्या वो जीरो पे बोल, वो माइक
यार है वे लो। हेलो।
जी जी।
आप चेक करो।
स्पीकर है नहीं बोलेगा ना।
हेलो, आवाज मेरी भी सी आ रही है।
जी
बात कर रहा है ये बात कर।
मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको सही? बस वही बता रहा हूँ ना कि वो बहुत पीछे होकर बात कर रहे हैं। वैसे भी वो अपनी टीम में बात करे। वो जो है ना वो अरसलान जो है, अरसलान तुम्हारे से माइक कितनी दूर है?
मेरे से माइक तकरीबन है कोई 8-10 इंच कह लें।
वही देख ले, मैं बिल्कुल माइक के पास इसी तरह ही बात कर रहा हूँ, तो आवाज तुम्हें आवाज बिल्कुल सही आ रही है।
कम आ रही है मेरा ख्याल है, हमारी साइड से वो स्पीकर की कम है, बस बाकी क्लियर है आवाज।
कम है?
आप उधर से बढ़ाएं, मैं इधर से भी अपने स्पीकर की आवाज बढ़ाता हूँ थोड़ी।
अब सही है?
हाँ बेहतर है।
फुल कर दी मैंने, सबकी फुल कर दी।
हाँ जी।
इनके माइक की, ये जो नीचे बैठे हैं इनके माइक की ज्यादा आवाज आ रही है।
ज्यादा?
आपकी आवाज ज्यादा आ रही है।
एक करना है ना, एक करने से क्या होगा, जो हैंडल माइक का वो भी चेक करें, बाकी वो उधर है।
यार उमर की तरह उमर नहीं आया।
उमर भाई आएंगे अभी, वो कह रहे थे कि मैं नमाज बस जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ के आ रहा हूँ, वो कह रहे थे लिंक भेज दें मुझे और नासिर को। कह रहे थे एक 406 में बैठ जाएगा, एक 407 में बैठ जाएगा।
हेलो हेलो। इसकी थोड़ी चेंज आएगी क्योंकि माइक ये सिंगिंग माइक है बेसिकली, आप इस चीज को तो समझते ही हो।
हाँ ये इसकी आवाज ज्यादा है काफी।
हाँ ये और चीज है, वो क्वालिटी का भी।
लेकिन नासिर भाई इसकी थोड़ी सी बेस ज्यादा है।
तो यही चीज आती है ना, इसकी कॉटरेज हो रहा है, उसकी कॉटरेज हो रहा है।
ठीक है।
अब यहाँ पे भी देख लो, इसके अंदर मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ आवाज में कितना फर्क आ गया, उसमें जो बोलेंगे यही आवाज। हेलो हेलो हेलो। हम singing करते हैं यहाँ। हाँ, मैं कौन सी बात। हेलो, माइक टेस्ट 1 2 3। अरसलान सही आ रही है आवाज?
जी सही आ रही है।
तो गुड हो गया। जुम्मा साडा फिर इत्थे ही रह गया यार। उमर
हाँ जी।
मैसेज आया है।
अल्लाह का हुक्म।
उमर का मैसेज आया है, उमर की एक तो समझ नहीं आती, उमर मैसेज नहीं करता, वो अद्धा बंदा पढ़िया जाता, अद्धा पढ़िया भी नहीं
आसिफ भाई ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲਿੰਕ ਭੇਜ ਦਿਓ ਉਮਰ ਭਾਈ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਨਾਸਿਰ ਨੂੰ।
भेजा बस, आपने भेजा? हाँ।
तो तुमने आज तक ये होगी तो लिंक खोल लिया।
उसने लिखा है जमात खड़ी हो गई है, 5 मिनट का कह कर आ जाओ। किन्नू?
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਭੇਜ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ।
ये देख रहे थे लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग हो रही। हाँ लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग भी जा रहा है। हाँ यूट्यूब खोला। बोलो।
हाँ जी। 007।
अच्छा एक दफा यूट्यूब पर
ओके।
भाई जी, इधर कौन होगा?
इधर अभी फिलहाल ये लड़का बैठा होगा,
नहीं नहीं, मतलब इवेंट स्टार्ट हो जाएगा
सारे इधर ही होंगे।
इधर ही होंगे।
हाँ।
तो फिर मैं आपके ये करके तो फिर मैं चला जाऊंगा, क्योंकि
हाँ,
क्लासेस तो साथ
हाँ।
होते हैं।
यहाँ पे जैसे फॉरवर्ड सेशन होगा और यूट्यूब पे बहुत होते हैं। 10 मिनट बन गया है। थोड़ा डिले। हाँ तो ठीक है, कोई
वो डिले आता है इस पे, कम से कम थोड़ा सा डिले आता है।
20-25 मिनट हो गए
नहीं सी क्वालिटी बहुत
यार। इस पे आवाज स्लो आ रही है।
क्या
यूट्यूब यूट्यूब बहुत पीछे चल रहे हैं।
वो चलता है? प्लान, मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ जी आ रही है।
ठीक है, फिर तुम बंद कर दो उधर से ना, ये इधर से चलता रहेगा।
क्या?
वहां से अपना साइन आउट कर दो।
साइन आउट कर दूं?
टेस्ट कर लिया उन्होंने, वो कह रहे यहाँ पे चलता रहेगा, यहाँ से आके दोबारा कनेक्ट कर लेंगे।
तो मैं साइन आउट करके आ जाऊं वापस फिर अपनी बिल्डिंग?
हाँ जाहिर है, वो हो गया टेस्ट।
चलें
आज
ठीक है, मैं साइन आउट कर रहा हूँ।
खाना खा लेते हैं तब तक, फिर ये वापस भी आना।
हेलो 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 वर्षी साहब आ गए हैं? ये आ रही है आवाज इधर आ। Zoom 1 आवाज आपकी नहीं आ रही सही। आप वाईफाई तो नहीं हो?
मेरा बोलो।
हाँ जी हुन दसो। हाँ जी हुन दसो। इधर
हेलो।
जी आवाज आ रही है मुर्शी साहब?
हो रही है।
अब माइक अनम्यूट करेगा फिर कोई समझ आएगी हमें भी।
अनम्यूट करना जरा, नहीं होगा मेरे ख्याल में। अनम्यूट है उमर, तुझे आवाज नहीं आ रही? आ
हाँ
रही
जी
है।
आ रही है, अब आ रही है।
मयूर आवाज आ रही है या सादी सी?
बस कोई कोई इको शुको बढ़ाते हैं, भी कोई आएगी कोई खूबसूरत से।
ओके, आ जाए आप, वापस आ जाए।
हेलो। हेलो। वो फिर डिले आ रहा था उसकी वजह से मैंने अनम्यूट किया हुआ था उसकी। हेलो। हाँ आप देखो। ओके ओके, बहुत कम नहीं है। खोल। हेलो हेलो, इतना डिले? कितनी बारी बोलना। जी मुर्शिद साहब, आवाज आ रही है मेरी? जैन साहब की
Can we please settle down?
You will be marked. Okay. And you will be marked accordingly. That whole plan has been shared with you. Five marks for each stamp. And some of you also get an attendance who missed a course on Wednesday. Right? Is that clear? Can anybody check if this is being telecasted elsewhere? Okay. Who wins that? Through Zoom and Teams. So people in 407 and 406, we wish we were together. but we're going to soon begin.
Yeah, some people in the last rows, please come here. Aage. Jaldi se, don't argue. Hurry up. Ishtiyaq, you people, Sania, उठें. आप लोग भी साथ शरियार आगे इधर आके बेचें. लेफ्ट पे जो रोज एम्प्टी हैं, प्लीज फिल देम अप.
माइक यूट्यूब पे भी आ रहा है, ठीक है, ये रिकॉर्डिंग चल रहा है, उसका कैमरा क्यों ऑन है, माइक ऑफ कर
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hello, all. Thank you for joining us here today for the fourth edition of IDA NothingFest 2023, centered around the theme Zero. Before we start, I would like to request all of you to please put your phones on silent, and then we'll begin. Okay. First, I would like to invite Dean Professor Rashid Rana to come on stage for the Dean's address.
Dr. Arfa Saida Saba, Dr. Faisal Khan, faculty, team NothingFest, our brilliant students. Welcome to the fourth edition of NothingFest. BNU was established in 2003 as the first liberal arts university of Pakistan, with SWAD as its first school, and because of the liberal arts context, SWAD always focused on the interdisciplinarity, and it has been the hallmark of whatever we have done here through these various degree programs. But over the years, the mission and the quest of interdisciplinarity evolved more into multidisciplinarity, transdisciplinarity, cross-disciplinarity, and we arrived to, in the recent times, to a BA honors program called IDA. IDA, as you know, stands for Interdisciplinary Expanded Design and Arts, an excuse for us to expand and then broaden the scope of creative practices from this platform. So this, most recently, we realized that it cannot just be reduced to a degree program. This IDA is an initiative, whereas the BA honors degree offer as a one component only, but it is ought to be, as part of our SWAD mission 2030, ought to be a greater initiative that all of us are part of, our faculty, our alumni and students, in order to explore how disciplinarity is evolving in the 21st century, which is not confined to compartments and boxes, knowledge confined into various boxes. So in that regard, IDA is soon to become an umbrella term for a series of activities that we're going to organize. First of all, UNESCO, we are establishing a UNESCO chair at BNU SWAD, and as part of that initiative, we will be holding festivals, we will be organizing the research and journal activities, and as well as an incubation center. So it serves much more than just a degree program. So now, with that agenda in mind, we realized that NothingFest, which was initiated in 2017, May before COVID, we had to put it on pause during COVID years, but we held about 3 editions of NothingFest from 2017 till 2019 with the theme of, first one, nothing was the theme, and then blank and empty were the other themes, now arriving to the theme of zero. Thinking of all these themes, then the broad-based theme, that lens that it provides us to refresh whatever we see through these lenses, and an existing knowledge becomes new. It reminds me the early days of BNU and a personal sort of memories as the first faculty member of this institution, when I was given an empty room, empty papers, and a solitary space where I had the privilege to design the initial curriculum and the vision of the program for the School of Visual Arts and Design. And in retrospect, when I think of it, and when I think of today's NothingFest theme, Zero, I believe that it was the zero burden of history and the baggage of history that became our biggest strength. So it is therefore with great pride and pleasure, I announced the opening of 2023 NothingFest with the theme of Zero, and the role of the team is commendable. They've worked really hard. If you have gone through all the talk shops and keynote speeches and the program that is has been planned. It's going to be a very exciting journey for the next 2 days. It will begin with two really amazing speakers as keynote speakers for today, Dr. Arfa Saida and Dr. Faisal Khan. Those who have listened to them, they know that we're in for a most memorable and an enlightening next 1 hour session that we're going to have over here. So we will also have our director of the event sharing thoughts with you but just to quickly say something about Zero, that it's not necessarily the beginning of something. It could be the end of something to mark a new opening. When we count something, when we count down something, we begin ulta. So the NothingFest is not probably starting now. What you will end up in 2 days' time might be the beginning or series of one of the many beginnings that you'll have in your life. So this was my Sarkari bit, and the NothingFest actually starts now when I invite the director of the event, Ms. Roma Khan, and she will share the exciting thoughts with you about the theme of the edition this time. And I would like to say that let's do a countdown for that beginning, starting with count with me 5 to 0, not 1. 5, 4, count with me 3, 2, 1, 0.
Thank you, Dean Professor Rashid Rana, for showing confidence in me 6 years ago. I vividly remember being given the task, followed by several brainstorming sessions on and off campus that brought together the first NothingFest. Most of us were a part of it. Some who are not, we dearly miss. The task was to design an academic event that engaged our art and design students with non-art and design professionals to expand our knowledge base and to build bridges and connections between various practices. We wanted to work with a theme that was neutral, inclusive, celebrating diversity, and all-encompassing. The Dean proposed that we work around everything. I took my time to think and gathered my thoughts and brought him the idea of nothing. Those who have the privilege of working with Professor Rashid Rana closely know his immense talent for pushing people to make impossible things possible. Apart from being a leading artist and stellar pedagogue and a founding faculty member at the School of Visual Arts and Design, who has made SWAD out of nothing, just like he mentioned, he's a visionary who understood the vastness and the immense potentiality of nothing. 2 weeks after getting our concept approved, we had the first NothingFest. It was everything but nothing, yet all about nothing. The timeline will be remembered. The time will be remembered in SWAD's history. We had a brilliant lineup. Thanks to 3 days of non-stop calls to collect all stars within reach, we really were able to put together a galaxy, from Junaid Iqbal, who had just launched Kareem in Pakistan, and he spoke about making dreams out of nothing, to the Austrian ambassador, Her Highness Brigitte Blaha, who spoke about nothingness in diplomacy, to Gibran Nasir, who spoke about his political activism and how he feels when we do nothing, to Shabaz Tasir, who spoke about nothingness he experienced while being abducted. The second fest happened in 2018, and it happened without me. The very theme was without. That edition brought notable individuals like the politician Hina Rabbani Kar, barrister Etazaz Ehsan, analyst Fahad Hussain, and the celebrated fashion guru Hassan Shahryar Yassin, who designed their interactions around themes such as without fear, without color, without completion, without identity, without exercise, and without news. Fahad Hussain spoke about without news. The third edition that happened in 2013 was themed blank. It featured stalwarts like Sayyid Fakir Ijazuddin, Salman Akram Raja, Miss Meera Ji, Dr. Ali Madi Hashmi, and they spoke about topics like a blank canvas, generation blank, blank noise, blank check, etc. This year, our program focuses on zero. We have a fantastic lineup, talking, talk shopping, and performing various iterations of zero, such as creating light from zero, looking through zero, circling the zeros. We're particularly looking forward to a new component this year, immersive outdoor experiences, themed around zero thought, zero fear, zero water, and zero movement. I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude to the core team. Without their support, this would have been actually zero. Laiba Aslam, Durre Shawar, Waleed Zafar, Memel Ishtiaq, Eman Gilani, and the entire SWAD administration and faculty. Thank you for all you have done to make today possible. Thank you so much. Hope this will be a memorable, cherishable, and formative experience in your life as a Sweder. Thank you.
Thank you, Roma, for your kind word. Okay, so I would like to now introduce our first keynote, Dr. Arfa Faider Vera. Dr. Arfa is a Pakistani educationist and Urdu language expert. She first studied at Lahore College for Women and then Government College University. With further degree from the University of Hawaii in Manoy, and Vera is a professor emeritus of history at former Christian College and is former principal of the Lahore College for Women University. She was a chairperson on the National Commission on the Status of Women. Vera is a former caretaker provincial minister of Punjab. She is recognized for her knowledge on the Urdu language and literature and is specialized in intellectual history and South Asian social issues. Outside of the university sphere, she speaks at language conferences and televised forums. I would like Dr. Vera to please come on stage for your keynote speech.
Honorable Dean Rana Sahib, Honorable Director Rahman, the guest, the next key speaker. It's always a very good thing to do that we address all the people who are at the head of administering a festival. But I wish to address all the young students here who are thinking about nothing, but about everything. When we start to live and see our scenario of life here, we have a very enclosed vision, very myopic vision. And we don't think that nothing is something to think about. And we don't think that the most important thing in life is zero. Usually we consider that the zero means failure. Might be shock you. For me, zero means success. You start doing something, complete the circle. And before you think of doing something else, there is a void. And that void gives all of us a chance to think afresh. I wish in Pakistan we knew how to be a zero. And then so many things would have been easier to understand. The basic theme of your whole series is nothing. And I'll just mention that. I'm very grateful to Roma that she has asked a zero person to talk on zero. Nobody could be much more honest about oneself when the theme and the self resemble so much. To me, zero is absence of perception. But this is not the absence. This is basically the presence of your sensitivities. Basically, the present is in a way absent until we are sure about it. While we are having a debate within ourselves with our ideas, we find that antithesis could be infinite. We come to realize that zero is a chance to move on in millions of directions and to find a direction that suits us. If there was no zero, we would have been stereotypical. The thing which makes us to change our thinking, the thing that makes us to act upon is really a zero. Mostly people understand and very well understand that zero is a mathematical entity and it cannot be thought about ideas and philosophy. But thanks to Greek philosophers, they have made our life very easy in certain things. They talked about zero. And they said, oh, there is no dearth of ideas. One can move on with thinking and the world of ideas. But there must come a time when one should stop thinking. Now, coming from Greek philosophers, to stop thinking, I call it a zero. That is a moment to realize what to think about. And I think this way we can include infinity, which doesn't have any limitations. In our idiomatic language that we use, now the English language is our mother language, and Urdu is the national one. I asked Roma what would be the language for today. She was very kind. She said, if you wish to speak, you can speak in Urdu. But I thought, if I'm a zero, and if I'm trying to find a meaningful in zero, let me try to speak in the language which you people understand better. Because when we speak one sentence in Urdu, out of 10 words, 7 are English. And we think we are speaking Urdu. So that in a way makes Urdu a zero. But in a way, it makes us to think that for the sake of national identity and to be proud of the intellectual and cultural heritage that has reached us through Urdu, we should be able to move along this zero and find a perfection. Zero is not a reflection of negative views, not at all. If Roma permits, I'll recite one line from Mir Taqi Mir, just to please myself. If you people don't understand, doesn't matter. For zero, I think, ek mandagi ka waqfa hai, which means when you get tired and you have tried so many things, you wish to concentrate on something that could save us from all those negative things that we faced in our life. And that is mandagi ka waqfa. Some cultures give zero an importance only in mathematics. Indian philosophy and Indian culture is based upon the concept of zero. We should not feel that we are lauding the kafir, the dushman, but basically that is a fact. Zero is not a mathematical figure in Indian history. It belongs to mathematics, moves on to algebra, but the best is that it goes to philosophy. And they think that if you try to think and think and think about zero, you become an anti-zero yourself for a little while. And then you realize that without thinking, you can never understand zero. Very perplexing thoughts. If you understand their philosophy a little, I'm sure you people must be studying better than me, then they think it has a mystical power. The zero has a mystical power, and I think it has. If you see and try to understand the mystics of the world, the only thing they impress is silence. That will give us a chance to think. And the rest of the things may be nothing. Thinking can never lead you to any useless exercise. They think zero can save humanity. So zero becomes a benefactor. I'm very fond of Mahatma Buddha, though I know nothing about him. But he has a concept of nothingness and zero. Because before I repeat Buddha, I must add one thing here, that the very religious-minded people say that there is no void in this world because God is omnipresent and everywhere. And so, if you try to find something which is not divine, then to them it is demonic. So they also make zero a much better value Buddhists give. They say no. Zero cannot take you to any demonic activity or thought or possession. But I love Buddha for that. He said that this is the central theme and idea to capture nirvana. Because it simply leads you to a life where it teaches you to reflect. I wish we in Pakistan used to reflect more upon our life. There would have been less confusion and less chaos. Zero puts you to some time just to be, in your idiom, cool. And in Pakistan, we speak this word, especially the young people, so much that sometimes I wonder this might be a Urdu word. Why zero? Why Buddha, the thinker? He is the thinking ultimate. He considers zero as the impetus to move on. I'm not talking about the epistemology of zero, but I wish that we could connect it with the phenomenology, the phenomenology of zero. And that is limitless. The question of thought patterns and then getting a nirvana. Some people think that nirvana is also closer to the religious thought of Najat. You are away from all the things that could distract you. What I understand from nirvana is that you learn to think, to reflect, and then to absorb whatever the meaning comes to you. When negative things happen idiomatically, we use zero. Do you think zero is a symbol for negativity, or zero invites you to move towards positivity? For me, it is a pause. And I don't have to tell the people who learn through dots, lines, squares, triangles, that what the thought means. Thought is not only for Allama Iqbal, it's for all of us. We may have a smaller canvas to think, but maybe we have to think much more deeply and in detail. Zero brings you to realize the details of life, or the details of the expectations that the life expects from us and what we expect from life. And to me, nirvana is to get rid of our stereotypical self. That is the real nirvana that you leave. Many a time our thinking is shaped of many factors. The most factor is the social one. The most important is social one. Society forms our opinions. And the moment we give ourselves to society, the only thing we learn is to be harsh, to be aggressive. And they think this is the best way for being your self-defense. I think patience, tolerance, and silence basically represent zero and give us a time to shape our lives. Let me tell you that zero and nothingness are not the same. They are not the same thing. But in nothingness, people can find zero. But zero never gives you any idea of nothingness, because zero has a measurable value. Nothingness doesn't have any measurable value for that. Then what shall we do? What shall we do? Just stop at 9? Forget the zero. The importance of zero to numbers is unprecedented, unprecedented. I'm getting tongue twisters for myself. Zero has a value. Zero has a value and has a value of time. If you put it against a number, it becomes the most meaningful. It's a symbol for me to rethink. We could not live without zero, because zero is not caused by controversy. Zero is the essence of perfection. A thing completed, a circle moved back to its beginning. It took 2 million years for zero to be accepted. That's the meaning, is that we were putting all the importance of life on external values. We never thought the things that cannot be seen are the most important values for our lives. And I will try to wrap it up. That zero is for renaissance, for rethinking, for realizing, and I think for taking a rebirth of an idea. Zero helps us to understand and explain concepts that do not have a formal or physical form. If you do not have anything that does not have a physical form, we always say it belongs to infinity. And if your thought paradigm learns to be a part of infinity, we are successful. Not successful like a good bank balance or what a great house you live in and how many times you change your furniture in the car model. But it develops you, the human content, the human essence to live with sensitivity and to understand others with sensitivity, because zero teaches us patience and tolerance. Thank you so very much. I hope I didn't take more time. I'm extremely good.
Okay. So we are going to open up the floor for a Q&A. If you guys have questions, please raise your hand. I will give you guys the mic. G, anyone? We'll questions, guys. Zero thought.
May I say something? Looks like whatever I thought was so meaningless that it left no room for any question.
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum assalam.
You talked about getting away from your stereotypical selves, or is like achieving.
Louder, please, I will appreciate.
You talked about getting away from stereotypical selves as a win or as a nirvana. And I just want you to sort of elaborate on the idea of stereotypical selves.
I wish Buddha was. Buddha used this word nirvana, coming from Sanskrit, not from Hindi. And people thought that the easiest translation is that when you are taken care of or you are freed from any worries, any problems, any chaotic life that you might do. What I understand nirvana is that you realize yourself. Now, what is your life? What is your times? What are your aspirations? I believe anything can never beat down the aspirations. And zero is the symbol, really, to take you to those aspirations. Nirvana is not that you die. Many people say that. Oh, it's not to die, it's to relive. You found out, you got rid of what was to be not part of yourself, and then you move on. I find Buddha a very modern thinker than his own times where he was. I hope I gave your answer. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ji, Zaha.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम अम्मा।
Salam, बेटी।
हुआ कुछ यूं है कि ना मुझे इंग्लिश आ सके सही से ना उर्दू, तो मैं चाहूंगी कि आप मुझे जीरो का मतलब उर्दू में चंद लफ्जों में बयान कर दें।
बेहद अच्छी बात, मेरा इम्तहान लिया जा रहा है। पहली बात तो ये कहूंगी कि जो कुछ विकिपीडिया लिखता है, खुदा के लिए उसको मत दोहराइए। विकिपीडिया मशहूर है इस बात के लिए कि वो गलत बातें लिखते हैं। कभी मैंने वादा नहीं किया कि मैं उर्दू एक्सपर्ट हूँ, और कभी मैंने कोई विजारत कभी कबूल नहीं की। मेरा ख्याल है कोई 12-13 दफा कहा गया कि मैं वजीर बन जाऊं, तो मेरा जवाब यह था कि हुजूर, मैं जितने दिन जिंदा हूं उतने दिन अपनी इज्जत करना चाहती हूँ इसलिए छोड़। सिफर कहते हैं इसको, सिफर अरबी का लफ्ज, और अरबी सिफर के मानी है ठहर जाना। हम जीरो को समझते हैं हर बात का खत्म हो जाना, अरबी कहती है ठहर जाना। हर दाना शख्स, हर हसास शख्स, हर वो शख्स जो खुली आंखों से ख्वाब देख सकता है, ठहरता है। जो नहीं ठहरते उनकी जिंदगी अजीब गुजरती है, न चलते हैं न ठहरते हैं। जीरो नहीं, जीरो तो नहीं कहना आपसे, सिफर। सिफर आपको ठोकरों से बचा लेता है, एक वक्फा देता है कि आप सोचें कि क्या हुआ, कितना आपकी मदद है और किसमें आपका नुकसान, इसमें कितनी बातें मुस्बत हैं और कितनी बातें मनफी। और यकीनन कुछ हम अगले दिनों को तय करेंगे तो उसमें मनफी कम होगा, मुस्बत ज्यादा। आपकी तसल्ली होती।
Okay, we can take one last question. No, there's.
Assalamu alaikum. Your talk was very enlightening. I just have a question. When you spoke about the epistemology and the phenomenology of zero, so, the metaphorical, image of a snake eating its own tail, where zero exists, it is a phenomenon. And then in epistemology, it is, that it exists because you have knowledge of it. So could you please differentiate between the two of, the phenomena and the...
I think I said that zero does not belong to epistemology. It belongs to phenomenology. Why? Add zero after one, it becomes 10. Remove one and you add 2, it becomes 20. What is being removed? Zero. That's the phenomenon. No matter where you put it, at the lowest or at the highest, it doesn't lose its importance. And people who do not understand zero, they may remain a hero, but they will not understand life.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asma.
Thank you all once again for giving me this honor to come here. I have come to the BNU for the first time with a badly damaged knee and a badly damaged eye. lower back. And now I will speak Urdu for you. कमर शिकस्त हूँ, हिम्मत शिकस्त नहीं. Thank you so very much.
Okay, guys, please settle down. Please jam up, okay? Hanji, Hanji. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Arfa, for that very enlightening keynote. Now, I would like to invite the second keynote for today, Dr. Faisal Khan. Dr. Faisal Khan leads the Precision Medicine Lab in Peshawar under the National Center for Big Data and Cloud Computing, and is an assistant professor of bioengineering at the University of Engineering and Applied Sciences in Sarawak. Dr. Khan's interdisciplinary and translational research lab started in 2013 and is interested in a broad set of areas, from using systems and synthetic biology tools for various applications in medicine and the industry to space biology, bioart, and bioeconomy. Dr. Khan graduated with a master's and a doctorate from the University of Oxford. More recently, he completed a one-year training in cancer biology and therapeutics at Harvard Medical College Medical School, and is also an alumnus of the NASA STAR 2 program. In 2019, he was nominated as a young global leader from Pakistan and by the World Economic Forum. In 2021, he was appointed as advisor to the Minister of Science and Technology and IT, Government of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where he designed and developed the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Science Agenda launched in 2012. I would like to invite Dr. Faisal to please come to the stage and commence his keynote address.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is going to be a tough one to follow, ma'am. First, I want to say I'm really honored and privileged to be here again. I just want to point out how lucky you guys are being part of AIDA and SWAD. The type of culture you have, the type of programs that have cooked for you, and the way things are taught from what I know so far is amazing. We have collaborators across all 4 provinces in dozens of institutions, and I haven't seen anything like this before. So I just want to say how lucky you guys are. Yeah. If I'd done my A-levels now, I would have joined AIDA, so that's for sure. Acha, so the agenda for today, and I know I have to be judicious with my time. I also know we had a chat earlier. It was a SWAT seminar, I think, SWAT talk, something. We did go into some technical stuff. I'll risk repeating some of it for the benefit of those who are not there, but I want to have a broader conversation about the topic at hand, which is whether we can create life from zero. I'm not going to give you too many answers. I want to give you more questions and maybe expose you to the world of opportunities out there in terms of the work you guys will be doing, both AIDA and the broader SWAT. So, and I'm going to give some examples. So let's see how it goes. So to understand whether we can create life, we need to quickly understand what life is to begin with. And I'm obviously wearing a very dry scientist wala hat for now, okay? Biology since ages has been approached with a very reductionist view. We look at nature, we want to open it up and see inside, and then we get, saturated in terms of knowledge, and then we want to open it up further. So isko reductionism bolte hain. And we're going to go deeper and deeper into nature to understand what it's made of and how it functions. So एक hierarchy आपको नजर आती है gradually. ये भी एक common figure आपने देखा होगा O levels, A levels biology में. It starts with atom, and we know you can't create atom or destroy it. And it goes upwards. So आप arrows को आप देखते हो, and it arrives at the biosphere, which is our mother planet, planet Earth, जहाँ पे हम हैं, cradle of humanity. And if you see all the steps, I want to invite you to look backwards like a biologist. So obviously we went around, looked at organisms around us and how they behave. The typical stuff you see in National Geographic, for example. हम चाहते हैं हम botany study करें, zoology study करें. But then every now and then technologies emerged. It allowed us to go deeper and deeper. And that's what's been happening over the past few hundred years. So if I put it very simplistically, I flip this triangle and I say whole organism biology upar hai, the 5 million or so species at the top, the diversity. We got to know, we got hold of a microscope thanks to all the physicists. And then we discovered the microbial world, bacteria, fungi, etc. Later on viruses. Then we also went adjacent and we saw plants or animals mein andar kya hota, and we discovered cells. Cell biology samne aayi. Then we wanted to go further, and thanks to tools, which we don't have time for, we discovered the hardware and the software of life, which are genes and proteins. The beauty of this triangle is कि जो कुछ 5 million के करीब species आपको ऊपर नजर आते हैं National Geographic में, और जो नजर नहीं आते, not everything is discovered yet. All of that diversity unifies at the bottom. वो सारी इन्हीं genes और proteins से बनी हुई. And we'll discover this in the upcoming slides. This is just to give you the scale ka ek idea ke what scales are we talking about in terms of sizes. So over the period of time, we've understood biology at the parts level in very intricate details. But if we go back to the question of life, we don't know how to assemble it. If we had known, ab hum organisms bana rahe hote, right? So we know a lot about the parts, but we don't know how to put it together. Or we don't even, learning how to drive is something else then. Hum put together bhi sahi tarike se nahi kar sakte. But we know a lot about the parts. If I give you a 100 saal ki history 1 minute mein, there were 2 schools of thought when things narrowed down on the genetic material. They learned a lot about everything in biology. And उन्होंने कहा कि inheritance किस तरह होती है? What's that magic molecule? So those schools of thought है. We don't have details. This time for details. This school of thought, blender में चीजें डाल के, they used to separate it and check it out one by one. So +1 type of approach that. That school of thought started to remove one piece one by one. So mutant का नाम यहाँ से आया. They used to create mutants. So any organism minus one function, one piece of DNA out of it. And all of these people in the 1950s converged and they realized that DNA is the genetic material. So DNA का पूरा हंगामा 1950s में शुरू हुआ with the discovery of the structure that brought together these two schools of thought, the biochemists and the geneticists, and molecular biology was born. The age of biotech was soon to arrive then. If we go deeper as a molecular biologist, and I'm sure most of you know this, cell के अंदर nucleus के अंदर chromosomes को अब भी हम explore कर रहे हैं. We really don't know how nature has coiled it up. आपके हर cell में, you must have an idea of what the cell is, very, very small, you can't see with naked eye. हर cell में 2 meter long DNA. There's 2 meters long string of DNA in each one of your cells. So obviously उसको super coil करना चाहिए. And those intricate 3D details are still being unraveled. क्योंकि remember the DNA has to be read. तो अगर आपके आंखों में आपके नाखून वाले genes नहीं चाहिए, they are packed and put somewhere else. There's so many intricate details or design principles coming out of what we're learning about the chromosomes. But if we uncoil it and we go further, we find कि एक धागा नजर आ जाता है, which is the famous double helix. अगर आप उसको इस तरह represent करें chemistry में, you all of a sudden see a sequence of 4 different molecules. In other words, 4 letters का alphabet है. And that is the code of life. Everything we see in nature is coded for in 4 letters. And you can play with it, like there's tons of data out there publicly available. This is just a random Mycoplasma genitalium ka genome, a text file mein. But you can download it yourself. You can scroll up and down, all A's, B's, C's and T's. Uska sara setup isme likha gaya. So all of a sudden it becomes a computational problem, a data problem. This is an author who says, if I read to you the whole genome, all the DNA at the rate of 1 word per second, 8 hours a day, it would take me a century. If you look at organisms, तो आप बैक्टीरिया से शुरू करें, उसका जीनोम 4.6 मिलियन बेसिस है, MB. अगर आप yeast पे आए, देखें इंक्रीज होता जाता है. जब आप mammals पे पहुंचते हैं, तो गीगा बेसिस में चला जाता है. That means there's more information packed into that DNA molecule. Surprisingly, human और cow में इतना फर्क नहीं है. But then we realize there are even deeper design principles, more complex design principles in human beings, higher eukaryotes. So हम उसको अभी भी decipher कर रहे हैं. Any guess what this is? I'll give one person a shot. Maybe you win a cookie or something. Perfect. This is how similar you are to a banana. Yeah? And a chicken. Literally, like literally. Ab search wale algorithms use kare. Okay, we can talk later. Search wale algorithms use kare. You'll see similarities of this magnitude. This is the number of, this is the amount of bases available online. So अगर आप देखें 2000 में shoot कर गया था because Human Genome Project के results आ गए थे. Now all of a sudden everyone was interested in the entire DNA. मुझे अपने subject का पूरा DNA पढ़ के दें. And now we have tons of data. 416 billion bases का sequence freely available है, by the way, online. And this was 2020. This was a talk I gave some time ago. Last night मैंने देखा इसको. So it had reached 1.5 trillion. So basically it's an exponential growth. ये linear scale नहीं है, zeros लगाए जा रहे हैं, right? So it's growing exponentially. और एक research paper भी है कि वो astronomical data का वो लफ्ज़ अब खत्म होते जा रहा है, genomic होगा, क्योंकि it's leaving behind astronomy by several folds. So again, just to reiterate, the amount of data is humongous. These are all the design principles inside individual genes. No time for that. But we can copy, paste, and edit them now. and we heard about it, right? Now we're coming towards some applications. So if you, there's so many fancy and maze ke experiments. I'm not going to repeat the one I shared before. I'll give you a new one. So the first most significant industrial application was this one. Have you seen this on Twitter somewhere? I stole it from Google. So diabetes was a death warrant back in the day, no? And initially, उन्होंने क्या किया कि pork या cow pancreases को mash करके उसमें से insulin निकालते थे. And then when we had the genetic engineering coming along in the 1980s, we used to have these plants. So आप cow का insulin वाला gene उठा के आप yeast में डालते थे. And you could just brew it up. आजकल when you now get an Eli Lilly jab, जो भी आपके family में diabetes वाले हैं, that's a human gene in a bacteria. तो अब चीजें advance हो रही हैं. और technologies बहुत तेजी से आगे बढ़ रही हैं. And that's what's making all the new things happen now, which we'll see. The DNA sequencing technology is developing at a rapid pace, and it's miniaturizing. It's going smaller and smaller. Your washing machine size ka, wo USB stick ke size ka. So a USB stick to read DNA of your interest. Some of you approached us, they were interested in microbiome, microbes in any particular environment. You can blaze through them using this USB stick. But if you read it, आपको engineer करने के लिए synthesize भी करना होगा, fabricate करना होगा. You can print DNA now as well, and that's what we do in Peshawar. So our DNA is like designed in Peshawar, printed in Belgium. So these are the printing technologies which are going cheaper and cheaper. तकरीबन आपको पड़ जाता है आजकल का डॉलर का मसला है मगर about 15 rupees per letter, which is nothing. So आप if you have 1,000 letter का कोई gene, आपको 15 रुपए per letter में आपको print करके भेज देंगे and you can use it forever. And we're getting engineering principles now. So we're chopping all these DNA and we're tidying them up and putting them in Lego-like libraries. ताकि और भी तेजी से structured तरीके से, standardized तरीके से हम इसको plug and play कर सकें. And that's what we also have in Peshawar. So we have a library of parts that you can pick and choose from, snap them on, and put them in EVs. That's how easy and cheap it has gotten. Many people don't know because of the rapid pace that we saw, right? I'm going to skip these. ये आपको idea दे देगा थोड़ा सा. I'm sorry. So basically the $10 million का golden rice का experiment, they put vitamin A in rice. अब वो $5,000 का experiment है. So basically the costs have come down exponentially, which means you can do your projects now using synthetic biology. So SynBio aims to design, engineer biologically based parts, novel devices, circuits, and systems. So brackets में आप note करें जरा इसको. We're calling DNA parts now, and we're calling DNA circuits devices, or organisms from systems बोलते हैं, because we can hack them like engineers do. So language भी अब change हो रही है biology में. Frogs वाला और O levels वाला ज़माना गया. So textbooks are far outdated now. Like every year they're going further backward. क्योंकि field बहुत तेजी से जा रही. This is my favorite. Again, we reductionist वाली बात, अगर आप hierarchies में similarity देखें, तो engineers तो bottom up जाते हैं, they spot a problem and they build a solution for it. Forward engineering. Biology सिर्फ discovery करती थी. Open them up and come down towards the parts. But now the arrow is flipped. So we can engineer things from scratch the way we want for whatever application you might require. So to wrap this up, CS की तरह आप software लिखते हो तो आपके पास code लिखते हो आपके पास software आ जाता है. Engineering में आप circuits draw करते हैं, फिर fab में जाते हैं, chips बनाते हैं. SynBio में आप DNA circuits design करते हैं और आप fab में जाके DNA molecules बनाते हैं, which you can then put into living cells. So now we are arriving at the light for the question, right? और ये जो पूरा design, build और test वाला
debugging वाला cycle जो है वो biology में भी आ गया है. It's pretty much engineering by definition now. We have toggle switches, we have logic gates, we have multi-component systems. We have our own open source movement. We share parts, we share systems, we share chassis वगैरह. We have our own open language जिसमें हम अपने circuits draw करते हैं. हर कोई अपने sketches बना रहा था. So a time arrived where they said नहीं यार अब हम हर parts का एक standard तरीका बनाएंगे. These are all the glyphs वगैरह. And to give you some examples, now this is a BCG study. This is one of the reasons. This is one way to demonstrate how important it is for our economy now, and how much we need people in this field and around it at the interfaces. Again, AIDA wala touches mein aata hai. So this is a BCG report. BCG says, under 10 सालों में this is a $30 trillion market, and it has already disrupted beauty wala, medical devices wala, or pharma wala, or meat or aquaculture wala market. So you've seen drugs being produced, you've seen probiotics engineered. तो ये आम दही नहीं है. ये दही आप लेंगे, इसके अंदर जो बैक्टीरिया वो engineered है. तो अगर आपको disease symptoms आते हैं, वो खुद ब खुद drugs बनाना शुरू करते हैं आपके gut में. And we can do other products like materials. So these are 6 different types of spider silk, which are synthesized through yeast. So spider के genes इन्होंने yeast में डाले, and they spun out fiber. So Spiber एक company है और Bolt Threads एक company है. Now they have these collaborations with high fashion brands or Adidas वगैरह, and they're doing prototypes that are already there in the market. And we're disrupting fragrances or flavors. एक experiment हमारी lab में भी चल रहा है jasmine का. So remember, when you have these rose oils वगैरह, obviously उसकी mass cultivation करते हैं आप, फिर seasons पे depend करते हैं. How about you just brew them overnight or over a week, whichever method you use. So those are already happening in the market now. And then some of you might have seen plant-based or lab-based meat, like और पूरा ethical domain खुल रहा है. Food में इतनी अंदर जाना कि आप, but then there's the whole climate change argument and avoiding to kill animals wala argument. But again, this one was very popular because it has an engineered gene from human blood की तरह का, animal blood की तरह का heme produce करता था. So the patty would go juicy or brown, just like a real. This is a plant-based patty. It's going brown or juicy because of the heme. Then we saw gene drive. So like millions and millions of mosquitoes being edited ताकि वो sterile हो जाएं और वो nature में जाएं ताकि उनकी रोकथाम हो सके. Now you're touching, अगर आप original वाला वो diagram remember करें तो environment और ecosystem level पे engineering की जा रही है. काफी मुल्कों ने इसको रोका. ब्राजील ने इनको इजाजत दी है, तो ब्राजील में trials चल रही हैं. And the ultimate sort of example which comes into your head the moment you hear these things, it is human editing, right? So we've had some successes in different diseases, and we've had some rogue people as well who've defied the moratorium. Sanzan Milke, they've decided they're not going to edit human beings. But this guy went on and he did it. Or thalassemia ke designer babies ne banwaya. The babies who with removed thalassemia. So thalassemia treated tha unke पैदाइश se pehle. Again, a good cause, but going into it without the ethical sort of approvals and the consensus of the community is wrong. But what's the future looking like is the question now. Or आखिर में an outrageous one is replacing silicon now. So अगर आपने सुना है, I don't know if you have, all your HDDs or SDDs or flash drives are going to hit their max very soon. उनकी फिर कीमतें ऊपर की तरफ चली जाएंगी क्योंकि there will be no more silicon and germanium etc.
but DNA, they say that 7 orders of magnitude इसके बाद का उसमें opportunity है. So now Microsoft, Western Digital, and everyone else is investing into DNA, and they're trying to store information in DNA. So if you look at it, to summarize this bit, atomic scale precisions and biology man. Atomic scale, this is nanometer scale. This is the nanometer size ka, nanometer, a billionth of a meter. Okay. Nanometer size ka motor hai. This is carrying a vesicle inside a cell. This is like a railway track. This is a famous video on YouTube, by the way. So, but if you engineer this, you can have continent scale productions, right? And we've seen all these giant trees elsewhere in Pakistan and elsewhere, and other sort of flora and fauna on an ecosystem level. So again, the impact is huge. The implications are huge, which means the risks are huge as well. So let's go back to our diagram and wrap this up. If we're able to do this, are we creating life? A famous article aaya tha, are scientists playing God? So I want you to decide after hearing this. Obviously, in sare levels, we've seen that ecosystem level pe bhi engineering hui hai. We've had a human editing on the organism level here. We've had beating hearts in a dish, which means tissue level pe bhi engineering hui hai. We've also had synthetic cells made up of chemicals in the lab. Or the upper blue wala, the last one, that's the first living cell whose parent was a computer. Parent की biology में definition ये होती है कि आपका DNA कहाँ से आया. Okay? तो DNA का पूरा set आपका कहाँ से आया. इन cells का DNA computer से printed, computer में design होके print हुआ है. Which means these are dubbed as the first synthetic cells. So again, if you play with the software, are you playing with life? Or when you make the hardware, are you playing with life? Also, the argument of, deeper philosophical arguments, which take you to religion and all of that, is where does life begin to start with? Is it the molecule which is running around Brownian motion? Or is it a cell which is functioning thoroughly and intricately? Or is it the beating heart, जो हमको थोड़ी सी जान आंखों से नजर आ जाए? Or is it the organism when it has emotions and it has sentience? So, in a nutshell, we have pieces answered, but we're not there yet. If you take the software argument, we've already done it. But again, it's the counter argument here कि हम तो existing parts लेके engineer कर रहे हैं, right? We're not making it from scratch. The other people argue that nahi, if the software is from scratch, that's what's guiding the production of all the hardware, right? So again, an open question there. But I want to end this by extending this diagram, which is maybe you should make one in the lab, and which is the following. How about we jump out of planet Earth and into Mars or other planets? Interplanetary sort of life. We already know the plans by different people, including NASA, make humanity and make humans a multi-planetary species. But why does it stop us? And by the way, there are also roadmap for saying we're going to colonize Mars, and they have different plans for it. This is NASA's famous poster, which explains all the rovers, the landers, and all the other systems that are being launched. We have a new launch coming up next year, which is highly anticipated. And there's also research undertaken कि भाई वहाँ पे habs किस तरह होंगे, आपके tents रहने की जगह किस तरह होंगी. There's like solid investment and work going into it. And then how can SynBio help us? So for example, if we can't grow plants, can we grow algae? Algae give us food, oxygen, and energy. So how can we use what's out there on Mars to create life and conquer another planet? Again, Mars is very exciting. Mars is going to be the second planet taken over by man. Or imagine the पहले जोड़ी का नाम Adam or Eve भी हो, right? That's what it is actually. So again, from a species perspective, if you zoom out, things get even more exciting, and that's why we're involved in all of this. Last example is Europa. एक मैंने आपको example दिया कि to make life multi-planetary, एक ये the search for extraterrestrial life. What if something's out there already? तो उसका सबसे बड़ा mission next year, again ये भी next year जा रहा है. It's the Europa Clipper. Europa is one of the 4 large moons Jupiter के 80 से ज्यादा moons हैं, और उसके जो 4 बड़े हैं उसमें Europa is the most easier one for man to go and inhabit. वहाँ पे water है, elements हैं आपके basic, और energy है. And there is a lot of evidence for scientists to believe कि उसके crust के नीचे जितना ocean है वो अर्थ के 4 गुना ज्यादा है. So again, the liftoff is 2024, but the ETA is 2030. 2030 में हमें answers इस experiment के मिलेंगे. So a whole set of experiments are going to go and test all these hypotheses. So again, from a future perspective, from a humankind perspective, people have already zoomed out, and people are not just toying with the narrow earthly definitions of life. They're going broader than that. 20 साल पहले अगर आप extraterrestrial life की बात करते तो लोग आपका मजाक उड़ाते शायद. But now there's data and there's investment going into it. So to understand whether we can create life, we need to understand life first. And I hope you realize it's an ongoing mission. It hasn't been solved yet, even though we are so deeply entrenched into the engineering of living systems. और हम उसको कितने intricately already कर पा रहे हैं, फिर भी the definition of life remains open, and there are different schools of thought there. एक चीज मैं touch करूंगा, there's a whole sort of there's a so Drew Andy in Stanford once said कि वो वाला people who fall in love with genetic engineering and synthetic biology are the ones who are going to benefit from it. And he says this because GMOs, genetically modified organisms or food, उसके इर्द-गिर्द एक बहुत बड़ा political और social movement चल रहा है, right? चल रहा था basically, and that was related to food, especially in agriculture. But all of that has been the argument has been forced to rewire. और हम भी चाहते हैं, and I really wish कि हम एक constructive public discourse बनाएं इस चीज के इर्द-गिर्द पाकिस्तान में और broadly, to be able to benefit from this technology for all of mankind. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Faisal. We're going to open the floor up for questions. Please raise your hands. Ji, Javeen.
Hello. So my question is, I don't mean to be insensitive, but मैं जब ये देख रही थी तो मुझे काफी anxiety हो रही थी, and when like this happens often, and I'm just wondering how is the nature responding to this modification in genes?
Well, it's already happening in nature, right? Human beings are the only species who can direct evolution. बाकी सारे species evolution से go through करते हैं naturally. It's already happening out there. Mutations happen over time, or obviously at a very slow pace and without your intent, या मेरा और आपका. So उस पे humans doing it, there will be consequences if you go very, very rogue, right? But that's the whole idea of that constructive public discourse. कि outright ban भी नहीं करना चाहिए इस तरह की चीजों को, which stifles innovation. but we can't go blindly into all of this territory without understanding kya ho raha hai. That's why there's a moratorium on human editing. But when you talk about taking human beings to Mars, they're saying that generations will live and die over there. Be born and be raised and they'll die over there, which means multi-generational kisam ki cheez, right? Then maybe they'll justify human augmentation. But again, ethics mein aap yaad rakhiye ki ethics depends on space and time, and ethics evolve with space and time. So it's very subjective. Just another thought on that, कि technology is neutral always. The users, matter कि उसके साथ वो क्या करते हैं. But मैं आपको ये भी बताऊं कि technology is very, very political because it brings power to those who have it, and it takes away power from those who do not. And the ultimate, the craziest thing that can happen, and that's happening in AI, for example, is exponential technologies mein disparities exponentially बढ़ती हैं. तो अगर आप 5 साल सो जाएं, दुनिया कहीं और जा चुकी है, and you don't have those resources or skills anymore. So that's, I think, a bigger problem, where a small set of people will boss around the entire humanity के हम इस तरह जाएं, right? So I think one way to solve it is to jump on the curve before you lose back. Sorry, wrong answer.
Assalamu alaikum. So you mentioned things about printing, and then there was this whole artificial cell being made from a computer code, right? With like my knowledge of mitosis, and you've created a cell from a computer code. So is that like a dwarf cell? Would it like stop over there, or is it possible that that cell that you've created from that computer code is able to replicate itself further?
Well, it behaves as a totally natural thing. It's designed in silico in a computer. It means उसमें कोई कमी नहीं है. उसमें शायद augmented चीजें होंगी, right? But yeah, it functions just like the others.
It does. Like there are a lot of mutations happening with even crossbreeding with animals, but they can't reproduce further. So is that like the similar case? It does like has all the functions and properties of a normal cell, but
good technical question. You'll always have a series of mutants or things coming out of it. Some of them will naturally die. We survival of the fittest wali baat, right? Those who carry on will be the ones you pick to take further. So naturally, जो जिनमें कमी होगी for one reason or the other, known or unknown, वो मर जाएंगे.
In that note, I was also thinking with the survival of the fittest that's going on, and if things go to Mars, like human population उधर जाके फिर growth orient we're living there, then that means कि जो Mars के atmosphere environment होगा, that's gonna genetically DNA level में it's gonna start changing us throughout the years. With survival of the fittest at the end of the day, right?
So a random hypothetical experiment is आप 1 million लोगों को लेके जाएं of diverse genetics and let the ones who survive breed and conquer the planet, right? That's how it works. That's how nature works. Survival of the fittest.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to ask, I saw this post on Insta, there is a child who is born with 3 people's DNA in the UK. So I wanted to ask about that. Is it actually possible for that to happen?
It's possible.
Yeah, as in.
The question is,
what's by
the implications now for society, right?
Yeah, for like people.
I was scared. Like that's a mess.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want your social fabric to get teared apart. इस तरह की चीजें thoughtfully करनी चाहिए होती हैं. इस तरह आप खुद से तो नहीं कर सकते, right? That's what I'm saying. We need to educate ourselves. One, Maybe that's why I'm sharing all of this with you guys. दूसरा ये है कि we need to have a constructive debate around this and discussion, educated. जिस तरह डिजिटल लिटरेसी की हम बात कर रहे हैं, आजकल हम जिनोमिक लिटरेसी की बात कर रहे हैं. So we need a genomically literate crowd or public somewhat, ताकि ये चीजें इन डिबेट्स में हिस्सा लें, इनकी रोकथाम हो या इसको बेहतर बनाया जाए. But technically, yes, it happened and it works. Socially, I don't know कि क्या होगा.
Thank you. Okay, Ji, we are done. Thank you. Ji. Alina, please.
You're the rock star of science.
Okay, students remain seated. Take care. Okay, just as a reminder, your talk shop will be start at 5. Please be in the designated talk shop studio / classroom at least 5 to 10 minutes prior to the start. Okay. Abhi, we remain seated. Let the guests leave. प्लीज बैठे रहें जहां पे भी हैं आप लोग. Okay, guys, so we have a slight delay in our leaflet. आगे? Yeah. ठीक है भी. ठीक है. So please, nobody crowds around Hifza. One by one, अपनी जगह पे बैठे रहें और एक एक करके हो जाएगा ये.